What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So I just finished watching episode 4, of The Last of Us. My reaction is under my YouTube memberships. If you are new here, my YouTube memberships is for members only. If you would like to see my reaction, you need to go over there and subscribe to one of the levels that I have over there. Level 1 is for $2.99 and you'll get priority replies from me, special polls, and live streams. Level 2 is for $4.99 and you're going to get everything that level 1 has, plus you're going to get all of my reactions to shows like this and a whole bunch of other ones that I have over there. Any reactions to any movies that I may watch and all of my uncut try not to laughs. So go over there and check that out. Now, this episode, he is still trying to make his way to his brother in Wyoming. He is still with Ellie. Now, this episode starts with her looking at her reflection in what looks like a mirror. And she's like, I don't know if she's practicing or she's kind of like, she's playing around with a gun. And I'm just like, I felt like this was going to come in handy later on, her having this gun, of course. But just the fact that it's like a reminder of how hard-headed she is. I'm sorry. But anyway, so they get in the car and we see that they're going to be spending a lot of time together on the road. So they are looking for his brother they're trying to make their way to Wyoming. And she's still hiding the gun from Joel. Joel still does not know that she has this gun. So she's putting it in her backpack, and now he's outside, I guess, taking gas from another car so he can gas up his truck to drive off. So while they're waiting, she has this book of jokes, and they are bad jokes, like dad jokes type of. So at first he doesn't seem that amused. Like, she's telling these jokes and she thinks it's hilarious. And he's just like, just wait in the truck. So they're driving, and finally they get to a roadblock. When they are on this, what looks like an intersection, they get ready to go under this underpass, but they see all these cars and there's a big truck that has blocked it. So they have to try to go around, and they go through this town. At this point, I think they're in Kansas? Don't remember. Or Kansas City. So they're trying to go around and they're going through this town and they start getting shot at. And I was just like, what in the world is about to happen now? Like, who are these people? They're not fireflies. They're just regular people, but they are clearly part of a group. So they end up crashing into this place, and she has to hide out, and there's like a full-blown shootout with Joel and whoever these guys are. So eventually he gets attacked by one of these dudes, and this dude looks like he's about to kill him, and then she comes out of hiding with her gun and shoots the dude. And now he's like crying and begging for mercy, apologizing. He's like, take me to my mother. She's just down the street. And this part kind of bothered me a little bit. Or maybe, yeah, it bothered me a little bit. Because it was so like, it's so wild what happened. So, you know, she comes out, she's pointing the gun at this dude, and he's begging, and he's like, please take the knife. It's a good knife. We'll be friends. I'm sorry. You know, and then Joel takes the gun from her and looks at her in her face and says, go back to hiding. And it's almost like she knew. And she goes back behind the wall where she was hiding. And he starts screaming for his mom. Like, the guy, Joel is getting ready to kill him, and he's just like, Mom, Mom, Mom. And then Joel shoots him. That kind of bothered me a little bit. It was like unexpected in a sense. So anyway, so they're on this long road to wherever it is that they gotta go. And she asks, oh, so in this episode we do see that she's sitting in the back of the car, she's looking through the magazine, and she sees what she sees, just like the game. And she's asking all these questions, and then she throws the magazine out the window. Um, so that was there, but I feel like that part just happened a little too fast. It was almost, it felt like a little throwaway-ish for me. I don't know. But anyway, so they're having this conversation while she's looking at the map and everything, and she's asking him about his brother and what happened and why isn't he with him. And so Joel goes into the story about why they got separated and what happened and how he met. It all kind of goes together because I guess his brother was in the military, or he went to the military, and then something happened, and then they ended up meeting Tess, and then he met someone else after everything happened, and then he went off, and I guess that's how they kind of got separated. And at one point she's like, if you don't have hope for living, like what's the point of keep going? And he says family. She's like, I'm not family. And he's like, no, you're cargo. And you can kind of tell that kind of bothered her a little bit, but her character is so hard. Like, her snapping back into her like savage mode, quote unquote, I don't know. Like, it's a bit bothersome to me because I feel like, I don't know, in this episode, it kind of irritated me a little bit, their interaction. At one point, on one end, I like their interaction in this episode because you see that she's kind of making light and trying to, make him laugh and just trying to bring some humor into the situation because you got nothing else to do. You're traveling together, so why not? And through the course of the episode, you see that she starts telling these jokes, and little by little, he starts warming up to them, which I appreciate. I like that now they're kind of warming up to each other, and she's making him laugh, and she's telling these jokes. And at one point, he drives into the woods so they can rest and so they can sleep and everything. And so they're sitting there talking, cracking jokes and everything. And, you know, um, and I feel like, I don't know. On the other hand, her interaction with him is almost like her character is older than she is. Does that make sense? Like, what bothers me a little bit what is like when she calls him mother effer, or she called him a D when they were laying down telling jokes. And I feel like for her to do that, like for her character to have that type of interaction with a grown man, I don't know, like that just kind of bothers me because little girls don't do that with grown men who are, I mean, she's clearly not scared in this episode, but I just feel like her character is older than she is. You know what I mean? But aside from that, I actually really enjoyed this episode. Um and I feel like now I feel like we're starting to really dig into this. You know what I'm saying? So we also see that there's this big group, and it's led by this lady who we find is in this trailer talking to who we find out is her doctor. She's looking for, I guess, her brother. There's another guy that she keeps mentioning, and we don't know who he is. Or maybe y'all know who he is. I don't, because I didn't finish the game. So I don't know if he's a character in the game or not. But she's like trying to be this hard ass, but she looks like she's the leader of this group. And so she wants to find out where they are because the two bodies, the guy that Joel killed and then the other guy, this group ends up finding them and bringing them over, and neither one of them is her brother, but she's like, all right, I want to know where they are. So they're kind of looking for certain people aside from Joel, because Joel and Ellie were the ones that, got to these dudes. But apparently there's other people that she's after, so they end up, the big guy with the beard and the long hair, he ends up going into this building where eventually they go all the way downstairs after going into the attic and finding, empty cans of food and pictures, and we see that there are kids involved. From what I assume are kids, because there's drawings and stuff like that. And so they end up going all the way downstairs, and it looks like there's like a nest or something underground. And so the guy, as big and bad as he looks, they kind of back out of the room, and he's looking at her. He's like, when do you want to tell the others? And she's just like, not yet. And he's basically looking at her like, are you serious? And she's like, let's deal with that later. Let's figure out what the issue at hand. And I'm just like, I don't know who this lady is, but she is wilding, not telling everybody what she saw down there. So anyway, Joel and Ellie are still on the move. And at this point, I think they've lost their way, because they were supposed to go around to get to the other side of that, the overpass, to get to Wyoming, where he has to meet up with his brother. So now they crashed their truck, so they don't have a car. They're on foot, but they're armed. At one point, we see, after the situation happens, that Joel kind of feels bad because Ellie was put in a position to shoot this guy to save him, and he didn't like that, and he's trying to apologize to her, but he's not doing a good job at giving her a little pep talk. And this is when she discloses that it wasn't the first time she shot a gun or shot somebody. So he's basically like, you're too young, you shouldn't have to go through that. So he ends up teaching her how to hold the gun, because at this point he realizes, all right, well, if this ain't her first time, then I'm gonna need her, and yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? So later on, they end up going into this building. They are climbing up what he says were like 45 flights, but they end up at 33, and they find, I think he sits down for a little while, but Ellie is like, come on, get up. And so eventually they get to the top floor, and now they see they're in a room that has like these mats or whatever, and he's doing whatever he has to do just to make sure that he hears people coming in. And so they're getting ready to go to sleep, and she's once again telling these jokes, and at this point they're like hysterically laughing. They're getting ready to go to sleep, and they go to bed. They wake up. She's waking him up, and she got woken up by somebody pointing a gun to her head, and it looks like a young dude. And then another younger, what looks like a little boy, probably about her age or maybe younger, pointing a gun to Joel, and he looks at him and he like tells him to just not speak. So I got a feeling these guys are not bad. Maybe they're going to try to help them or work with them, because there's a post-credit scene and we see these guys, they're in there. So, I don't know how they're going to get out of this. I don't know what they're going to do as far as getting a car. I want to know more about who this lady is and her crew, because they're not Firefly, so I don't know who these people are. Why she killed this doctor, I don't know. But aside from all of that, like, I really enjoyed this episode. I feel like this is when it's gonna start really getting to the nitty gritty and start getting good. This was a good episode. It was a really good episode. But anyway, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you enjoyed my review for episode 4 of The Last of Us. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel. Hit like, share, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you guys can get notified whenever I pop up on your feed. I'll see you guys later.